Hey girl gang, it's Dr. Joy here and you are watching Delivering Joy MD TV. Welcome to Well Woman Wednesday, and y'all, today is all about my hot girls. That's right, we are finally getting there. We're going to talk about hot flushes today, or what we more commonly call hot flashes. So if you're one of my hot girls, make sure you keep watching. All right, y'all. So I know this has been a long time coming, but I want to give a shout out to my girl Christine, who specially requested this video. She was like, talk about something that grown women need to hear about, like hot flashes. So technically the term is actually hot flushes, but we have been calling them hot flashes for as long as I can remember. So I kind of use the terms interchangeably, but I wanted to just kind of break down the anatomy of a hot flush for you today so that you can kind of understand it. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the treatment options that are out there and some of the ways to prevent hot flushes. So I want to jump straight into this because I know y'all have been waiting for this tea for quite some time. Okay, spicy chicks. So hot flashes are the #1 most common menopausal symptom. So about 80% of women going through menopause are going to have hot flashes of some severity. Only about 20% of women, however, actually seek treatment, which I find very interesting because a lot of women are going through like almost debilitating hot flashes. So much so that they may not even be able to live their daily lives. So I think that's very interesting. So let me just start with encouraging you to seek help if you're having debilitating hot flashes, so much so that everybody in your house is freezing or you got the whole office wearing coats to work in July. So, seek some help if you need it. So that's #1. But hot flashes are basically where you have deregulation of your ability to regulate your core body temperature. Now, if you caught this last Well Woman Wednesday, where Dr. Cicely, our female hormone specialist, was on, she talked about how when our ovaries are no longer producing as much estrogen, we have a dysregulation of our ability to regulate our temperature, because our temperature regulation system is close to the hypothalamus. And so when the hypothalamus is kind of going through its whole change there, where it's no longer producing the GnRH the way that it was prior, that thermoregulation system gets affected by the lack of estrogen. So when the hypothalamus is going through withdrawals, that thermoregulation system gets all kind of jacked up. So what happens is when your core body temperature changes just a little bit, your thermoregulation system just fires on all cylinders. And what it does is it causes the blood vessels in your skin to suddenly just dilate. And that's why we were calling these hot flushes, because when the blood vessels in your skin dilate, it can cause a color change, a color reaction. Now, we don't see it so much as women of color. However, in our less melanated sisters, you can sometimes see them flush or turn red. So that's why they're referred to as hot flushes. And so when those blood vessels dilate, blood rushes into the skin, and then you can get this whole sensation that you're like on fire. And so usually the hot flush can start in the neck or the chest and goes up into the face, and then the entire body begins to experience this just heat wave. So the sweating, the profuse sweating, also comes from that intense dilation of blood vessels in the skin. And so once you're sweating, that usually helps to cool you down. So hot flashes can last anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes at a time, and some women will experience chills afterwards, because once you've released all that sweat, you can literally get super cold after that, and you may even experience shivering as your body tries to warm itself up by having your muscles like literally shake. So it is very, very disruptive in the lives of some women, because it's like suddenly I'm so hot that I just can't take it. I want to strip off all my clothes. I want to go stand in a freezer somewhere. And then a few minutes later, I'm freezing. So it really is, it can really cause some serious problems with some women, especially if you are working in corporate America. It's not really cool. Like if I'm in the middle of the OR and I want to snatch off all my clothing and I'm like in the middle of performing surgery. So, you know, if you are working at your job and suddenly you have an intense hot flash, it can really be debilitating. When you're premenopausal and your body is making estrogen, your thermoregulation system is working much better. So it doesn't allow these big shifts in body temperature that way. But as your estrogen levels decrease, these hot flashes come on. Now, we used to think that hot flashes only lasted for about a couple of years around the time that you're going through menopause, but some women can experience hot flushes and hot flashes up to 20 years. So this can really be a long-term process that goes on. And that's why I say, if you are having hot flashes, please visit your local friendly gynecologist and get some help. All right. So let's talk a little bit about grading systems. So hot flashes actually have a grading system. And I'm gonna teach you how to grade your hot flashes so that you can understand whether or not you're someone who definitely needs treatment or someone who can maybe go a more of a natural route to treat your hot flashes. This grading scale goes from 1 to 4. And 1 is having no hot flashes. So let's say you just have no hot flashes. Some lucky women have 0 hot flashes throughout their perimenopausal time or their menopause. 2 would be mild hot flashes that don't really interfere with your daily activities. So if you're just kind of going along and you're like, oh, I got a hot flash, and maybe you're only having 1 or 2 in a whole 24-hour period, and you're able to manage those by dressing in layers or, by turning on a fan or whatever, and it's all right, then you may be a grade 2. 3 is moderate hot flashes, where they kind of do interfere with your daily activities, but still somewhat manageable, and you're able to get along throughout your day. And then 4 is severe, and these are the folks who are having hot flashes like maybe once an hour, who really just cannot handle it. I've even had some patients who have had to leave work because their clothing is completely soaked, or they're not sleeping at night because they will wake up with hot flushes at night, or we call those night sweats, and have to get up and change their whole entire bed, take off their nightgown, who are sleeping in different rooms because they can't lay in the room with their partner because they get too hot. And their partner is complaining about them having fans and air conditioning on. So it can really be, it can really cause a problem with your quality of life. So if your quality of life is being interfered with and you're a grade 3 or 4, you are definitely someone who needs to see your gynecologist, and you need to get some help. So your treatment really depends on the grade. For those folks who are having mild to moderate hot flashes, so if you're a grade 2 or 3, definitely adjusting your room temperature can be helpful. You don't want to freeze everybody out, but adjusting your room temperature can be helpful. Dressing in layers, so maybe wearing a camisole and then a top and then a sweater, so that you can take some layers off safely without exposing yourself to the world. Then avoiding spicy foods, which is definitely a trigger. So if you're eating stuff that has a lot of hot sauce, like what I like to call African American seasoning, you want to avoid that. Your jalapeno peppers and cayenne pepper and all that kind of stuff can certainly trigger hot flashes. And believe it or not, high carb meals can also trigger hot flashes. Manage your stress, because when you get stressed out, when your nerves get bad, so to speak, you can certainly bring on hot flashes. You can certainly carry around a fan. I love having fans because I think they're just so fashionable and cute. But you can certainly carry around a fan and just whip that out and, fan yourself, honey, fan yourself. Mm-hmm. And then for mild to moderate hot flashes, you may want to try some of the natural remedies that are out there. I know people that swear by clary sage and black cohosh, a plant-based diet, and honestly, of those 3, the only one that has really shown real benefit in scientific studies has been the plant-based diet. In fact, black cohosh has been linked to liver disease. So you want to be real careful about that. Make sure that you're talking with your primary care doctor or your gynecologist before you really jump off into some of the herbal remedies, just to make sure that your overall health is okay for you to start using those. I do like essential oils, and doTERRA has a wonderful women's blend that can be really helpful for some folks. So just make sure you're checking with your particular physician before you just jump off into herbal remedies. Now, for moderate to severe hot flushes, you probably are going to need some form of prescription medication. And that doesn't necessarily have to be hormone replacement therapy. However, some women really will benefit from hormone replacement therapy. And we're going to talk about that in one of our future videos. We're going to really debunk some of the myths surrounding hormone therapy. So I won't get into that here. But some women really do need hormone replacement therapy. Some of the therapies that you really can use that are non-hormonal are things like Clonidine, which is a very old blood pressure medicine that works very well for hot flashes. You can also use oxybutynin, which is a medicine that can help with overactive bladder too, but it helps with hot flashes. Then there are your antidepressants like Paxil, Prozac, Effexor. So these are all medications that have been shown to help reduce hot flash symptoms. Then there are even some newer meds that are on the market called T-Sex, and these are tissue selective estrogen complexes. And these have been showing some good efficacy with helping to maintain your bone health after menopause, but they've also been shown to reduce hot flashes. So these are things that are just coming out that we are learning to use to help reduce hot flashes. So it might be a good conversation to have with your gynecologist. And one thing that we see a lot of in the literature is these bioidentical hormones, where folks are testing your hormone levels and trying to create some bioidentical hormone therapies. And to each his own. I say that women are smart enough to make decisions for themselves, but here's the thing that I will say about that is that many of the bioidentical hormones are not FDA regulated. So that means that you're not really sure what you're getting. So you have to be really careful about that. Now, I have known folks who have done very well with bioidentical hormone replacement, but you want to be careful because you're not sure about the dosage that you're getting. When something is FDA approved, there's a 20-20 rule. That means that it can only be 20% weaker or 20% stronger than the dosage that is on the box. So if you're using non-FDA regulated medications, that means that you may be getting way more or way less than what you are bargaining for. So just be careful about the bioidentical hormones. I ain't gonna tell you what to do because you're grown. Now, there are also some non-medical treatments. So some of these have shown some efficacy and some have not. So before you go spending your money, you probably want to research and see which things have been shown in clinical studies to actually work. And I'm gonna throw out a few for you. So mind and body therapy, so like mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, and these are things you can do with a certified professional counselor, a licensed professional counselor, and these kind of help you just mind map how you can get through your hot flashes and kind of just mind over matter it through these things. And these probably work best for mild to moderate hot flashes. And then, of course, plant-based diet. So those folks who have lots of plant-based foods in their diet are getting estrogens from plants, and it's called a phytoestrogen. So if you have lots of phytoestrogens, you may feel a lot less severe hot flushes. So that may be something you want to consider, is changing your diet. And we already said that spicy foods, high carbohydrate diet can increase your hot flashes. High caffeine diet can increase your hot flushes. So be cognizant of that. Now, some of the more questionable methods that have not really been shown to work in most clinical studies are things like acupuncture, evening primrose, the black cohosh thing that I already mentioned. So you want to be careful about those things, especially if it comes down to you spending a ton of money to to engage in those practices. So be thoughtful about that. But overall, girl, if you are having moderate to severe hot flashes, don't be a hot girl, okay? Go and get some help, whether that be changing your diet, changing your room temperature, changing the way you're dressing. You want to make sure that you are living a good quality life. So if you are perimenopausal, or you're going through menopause, or you've been through menopause and you're still having lingering hot flashes, talk to somebody, girl. Don't just be up in here sweating and going through all these different things. So if your quality of life is being affected by hot flashes, talk to someone. If you've got questions or you have comments that you want to share on this subject, go ahead and put them down in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single Well Woman Wednesday. And I'll catch you on the next one, girls. Peace.